Hello, welcome back to another video on the Atlas Mountain Race. Today I'm just going to run through the food I ate during the event. So resupply is kind of a key thing in these ultra races, and in Morocco it can be particularly tricky. So I just thought I'd run through, show you sort of what I ate, where I ate it, and the kind of consequences of resupplies and missing resupplies. So I'm just going to start looking at the map. So as you can see, this is the RideWithGPS map, and I kind of marked some key places. There's not really many places you could resupply. So my tactic going into the race was to carry quite a bit of food with me off the start, which it kind of worked, but it did backfire a little bit in some respects. So I started the ride. Basically, I took a load of the guys over at Sturka have been supporting me this year. So this is kind of some of the stuff I took with me. So you can see it's a mix of the Sturka bars and gels, and also some holy fat nut butter. So basically my plan was to carry a good amount of calories to supplement the food I could buy en route, which it kind of worked in some respects, but I also made a few mistakes with that. So basically I was carrying these, you can see them here, the Sturka bars. So there's 50 grams of carbohydrates in there, which, it's basically probably a good hour, if not more's worth of energy in there. And also the gels, again, these are relatively new. These are 50 grams of carbohydrates in there. So basically I started with enough food to see me through the first night. As well as that, I had some of their mix. It's like 90 grams of carbs in there. So I had 2 bottles, and I actually put 2 sachets in a 1 litre bottle. In hindsight, that wasn't the brightest idea. I can handle that in training at home, but because of the nature of the route, you can see these 2 massive climbs. Let me go to my screen share. The 2 massive climbs on the first day. Essentially, I ended up kind of getting a bit dehydrated along with many other people. I also had a bit of an upset stomach on the first day, and essentially I think the mix was too strong. Like I've been training with that and that strength, and sometimes I just use white sugar, not even like the Sturka stuff. And I've been training with that all winter, and I can normally handle that kind of thickness of mix, but that obviously wasn't climbing up a massive mountain in Morocco and sweating lots. So I kind of like shot myself in the foot a little bit there, and suffered the consequences. And I just felt quite blocked, and my stomach wasn't 100% before I started. Let's just say you didn't want to be riding behind me on the first sort of night of the race, and leave it at that. So yeah, I did struggle a little bit. And then I, as a result, I was then kind of a bit fed up with the energy stuff. After a couple of days, and ended up carrying quite a lot, as well as the Sturka stuff and the holy fat. I had these crepes. I just picked them up from Lidl. I've used these quite a lot. They're very flat. There's a lot of calories and a very flat profile. I think there's like, I can't remember exactly what does it say on there. Almost 100, 150 calories in each crepe. I found those worked really well because it was real food. And here's kind of an overview of everything I took. So as well as those, I took some freeze-dry meals. I'll come onto those in a second. So I took essentially a whole box of the Sturka 50 bars, plus the stuff you see there, and the holy fat nut butter. And it did kind of work. So the holy fat butter, basically I took this with me. So this is 240 grams, and it's got, let's see, per 100 grams, it's got 763 kilocalories of energy. So you got nearly 2,000 calories in a 250 gram or 240 gram sachet. And it also, I find it works really well. When you are sick of energy stuff, it works really well. It's really smooth on your stomach. So basically I had this because I knew further down the route, I knew there'd be some sections where I might well get caught out with resupply. So this was kind of there in reserve. So we'll come on to that later. So yeah, first night, hitting the gels mainly, hitting the rice bars. And I got to the first resupply, which, let me just share the screen with you again. So the first resupply, and I was just pretty dehydrated here, to be honest. I wasn't able to drink as much as I wanted because the energy stuff was making me feel a bit sick. This route isn't totally correct. We ended up going on the main road over here because of the weather. If you'd seen like the race report and stuff, you kind of get that figured out. So yeah, the CP1 in Tellurette, I basically just brought a couple of dry biscuits. Now this is a kind of example of the biscuits you get. I just wanted some bland food by that point because I was finding the, basically, you know, these are really quite rich and sugary. And because I'd mixed my drink too strong, I should have just taken one mix and then 2 water. So yeah, I just wanted to drink water. So I brought loads of water. I basically just chugged as much as I could. And that kind of did me a favour and kind of it kind of watered down my stomach a bit. And then I was a bit better heading into the night. So got through the night, and then I stopped in the morning. And this is kind of there's a river crossing here, you can see. And oh no, sorry, it's this one here. Yeah, petrol station and shops. So I knew this petrol station was there. So again, I was supplementing mainly on Sturka bars and the drink through the night. But what I did was because I had these freeze dry meals with me. So this one, let me put you on main screen again. Because I had these meals with me, I knew I'd have a decent resupply. So I knew that it would be a long first night. So these 1,000 calories, and it's porridge with strawberries. And basically you just put hot water in, wait 5 minutes, and you're kind of good to go. So I did the whole of GB Dura on these during the pandemic when we weren't allowed to resupply. I am a little bit mentally scarred by eating these for 8 days non-stop, but they do work. And you know, 1,000 calories is 1,000 calories. So my plan was to start heavier. I carried all the bars. I carried the nut butter with me. And I knew that it was going to be basically 30 hours before I hit that petrol station. So I knew that when I got there, I was going to have like 1,000 calorie meal going into the most remote section of the race. And if I just show you the map, so you can see this section here, from there, probably to about there. Oh no, that's a bit too far. From there to around where the shop mark is there, that's 100 odd K with no resupply at Afra. So I kind of knew that I needed a big hit of energy, especially after 30 hours riding. So yeah, that porridge just worked an absolute treat for me. And I brought a few other bits as well. So you can see here, I snapped a bit of a video. So I brought these little cakes and things. I was just craving real food at that point. There's not many calories in those cakes. Hence wanting to carry the extra stuff and supplement it. I got a coffee as well. And basically the guy just filled up my expedition meal with hot water. So I had a solid meal at least. And you can see I stored all the extra food on the back of my tailfin pack here, and there was some in my bags here. That's why my these Sturka bars are a little bit battered, because they were in my frame bag. I carried them all the way around the Atlas Mountains. So yeah, that was kind of the first, I guess, 40 hours or so of the event. So I got through I actually was flying through the remote section. I think because I had that 1,000 calorie meal, a lot of people rushed at that service station, and I pushed through, I had my meal, took my time, and then pushed through the remote section. I didn't stop at Avra. That was a mistake. I kind of missed the turn because it's slightly off route. And before I realised it, I was into this section, and I had the classic, do I turn around and waste time and go back, knowing that there was a big group of riders there, or do I push on? And I kind of knew there was a shop here. So I basically took a bit of a punt. I kind of remembered it from 2022, and I went to this shop. I didn't actually record what I picked up, but I got all my water, restocked on water, drank as much as I could. And it was a case of getting little cakes and things. Similar to these biscuits and the little kind of sponge cakes. And I still had all the bars, so I knew I had plenty of energy with me. But, my stomach, it had been a really hot day, and I got pretty dehydrated. I had been a bit sick. At one point, coming out of Avra on this section here, I was drinking, I still had some energy mix, and I had been watering it down. Every time I stopped, I'd watered it down just to kind of make it easier on my stomach. But at one point, I drank it in and then just vomited it up straight away. Like, my body was too dehydrated to be able to deal with like all the sugars in there. So that was a bit of a mistake on my part. I did have these little electrolyte sachets from Sturka. Again, they fitted nice and flat in my frame pack. So I was drinking those, just trying to look after my body. And I wasn't the only one suffering from this. It's just how it is in this race. And it was a bit of a mistake. And at this point, just coming out of that resupply, Alexander Kopp caught me, and we kind of rode together over this section here, and we stopped in Cascade de Tisgui, and it says a note here: Omar will cook food for you if you call him in advance. So Omar is the guy that lives in this amazing gorge. So me and Alex rocked up. He shouted at us, "Oh, do you all come in? Do you want food?" So we had a bottle of Coke, and we got this rather dubious looking tagine, which we ended up sharing. It cost us £10 each for this. He was massively ripping us off, but we were too tired to care. It was initially a chicken tagine, but if I'm honest, we both decided we'd probably be vegetarian because the vegetables were looking pretty sorry for themselves, but we just needed some normal food. So we ate kind of some of it. We picked around the edges a little bit, if I'm honest. Had some bread, got some water, had some Coke, and carried on our way. I find drinking Coke is actually quite good sometimes. If you're having a meal you're a little bit dubious about, it's kind of the old traveller's trick. Drink some Coke with it, because the Coke it's not great for you. It can kill a lot of stuff in your stomach. So yeah, we had some Coke and some water, and then carried on into the night. And my body was coming around a bit by this point, so just having some real food. Like I put too much reliance on the energy stuff. As great as it is, it was it's a bit of a schoolboy error, really. I should have thought it through more and carried more, like some nuts or something like that. So then we went into the night. This resupply here was shut. A few people stayed in the auberge here, and I ended up camping out somewhere on this kind of remote section. But I knew coming into the town of Tasnacht, I knew I'd been there before, obviously on the route and touring, so I knew there were shops there. But I also knew about this place here in Tassufi, and I knew there was an amazing cafe. So basically, I woke up and I had it in my head, like, had enough water, I had enough like snacks, like the biscuits and stuff, and I just knew I wanted to get to this cafe because in 2022 I stopped there, and basically there's this little cafe, and they do baguettes. So when I got there in 2022, there was a massive queue out the door for all the school kids getting their baguettes. So I was like, right, I need to get to this cafe. I'm going to get some bread, get some real food, sit down for 10 minutes, have a coffee, just, get loads of water, just get my stomach kind of hydrated, knowing that, the temperature was getting up by this point. We're heading into the desert. So yeah, I brought 2 baguettes with the little cheese squares in. It's like the Dairy Lee type cheese. It's not really cheese. Got this nice nus coffee. Nus is half and half coffee and milk. It's kind of like a flat white type thing, quite a big one. And yeah, then I kind of basically ate 1 baguette, sat there, and then put the other 2 halves in my bag for later, knowing that I was kind of craving the real food by this point. And and I still had all the energy stuff with me. So I knew I wasn't short of calories. I was finding by this point, because of the richness of like the bars and stuff, I could eat them, but I just had to eat them very slowly. And in the heat of the day, it was a bit too much for my stomach. So I was eating these in the morning and in the evening when it was a bit cooler, and when I'd managed to sort of hydrate myself a little bit more, specifically in the morning. And then we go into this section here, and I rode me and Alex were in sight across this section, and then hit CP2. And in CP2, I knew, again, they're pretty quick with their resupply there. They know the riders are coming. So I got a tagine, took this little video, and you can just see they had a little shop here. Let me just rewind it. So you could buy like the standard bars and stuff. So I think I got like one of the sugary drinks, topped up in water, brought a few more cakes and bars, just to have that real food. And then I got a tagine. I don't think I actually managed to film it. By this point, I was getting a bit wavy. And I brought a couple of these little sandwiches as well. They're kind of like sweet buns. So yeah, again, just supplementing the energy food with normal food and trying to get a meal when I could. So I was probably here half an hour. Myself and Alex were there together. Thomas Bouret caught us, and a few others. So it was a quick in and out, but I also knew that I was coming into a section of the race that would be tricky for resupply. So the old Colonial Road section, I got caught out in this section last year. So there's a small little kind of town down here somewhere. It would have been at the end of this this road section. I got caught out here before, and I went into a tiny little shop and I just topped up my water. It cost me probably 10 minutes, but I just wanted to make sure 100% I was full of water, because last time I really suffered on this section. I wasn't sure if I'd get to the Old Colonial Road, which is this section here, with any resupply. As it happened, I got to the small town here, Tagmoot, and there was actually stuff open. So I just took the opportunity. It was probably 9 o'clock at night. This is where the race kind of got away from me a little bit. Alex and Thomas weren't too far away. They were within like 10-15 minutes, but then I stopped for half an hour and I just got an omelette, because I knew the next day, because of the timings, I just knew that I wouldn't be able to resupply for most of the day. So yeah, I got over the Colonial Road, slept at the top, got into the town here. Isafan, it's a bit of a resupply place. Everything was shut, no resupply there. Then you're on this really slow canyon road. Because I'd stopped at the cafe here, I had like 2.5 litres of water with me. So I knew that I could get through over this section, and then you drop down, and then you're in like a bit of a oasis place. It's kind of, there is water, there's a few shops. So I was just like, I focused on getting to that, and I was at this point I was relying on the bars a bit. I had plenty of biscuits, and this is why I carried the nut butter. So basically I started on this nut butter in the morning on the Colonial Road, because I knew I wasn't going to get anything till at least midday. So I knew I had 2,000 calories here, and I basically kind of gradually drank this or slurped it over the course of the day. So it did its job. I carried an extra 250 grams for the first day of the race, but it really did get me through that section. And then when I got towards CP3, I made a big error here. I stopped in a small cafe here. I always get my kind of distances mixed up to CP3. I did it again. I did it in 2022. I did it again this year. So I was about 20k out from this place, and I thought it was like 50k. So I stopped for an omelette. It was a bit more touristy. It took like 40 minutes to get an omelette. And that's when Adrian caught me, or closed in on me. So I ended up getting to Terrafoot, stopped again at the checkpoint, because you have to take advantage of these places when you can. So yeah, stopped here, and I just ate loads of food. I got topped up with water. I got 2 sandwiches here to take away. Again, just buying real food when I could. I basically smashed all my food before I even thought about filming it. Priorities kind of changed a little bit during the race. So there was a massive bowl of spaghetti, 2 bags, a plate of chips, and then each of these sandwiches came with a bag of chips. So I ate 3 bags of chips or fries, and a massive plate of spaghetti, filled up my water, and brought these sandwiches. You can see Adrian was there. He caught me by this point, so I really messed up buying that omelette. So then Adrian saw me, and once you're in sight on these races, it's easier to motivate yourself. And the chase pack, which I ended up in at the end, and then kind of caught up a little bit. So then went into the night. There was a little shop somewhere around here, and not 100% sure. One of these little towns. Somewhere in here. It's not even on the map, I don't think. Just a little corner shop. And again, I think I topped up with water. I think I brought like an Orangina and more biscuits and cakes, just to make sure I had enough to get through the night, because things don't start too early in Morroco. It's more kind of like, they'll start opening shops as and when they're ready, probably 8 or 9 o'clock, and then they'll go through into the evening, and you can find stuff open quite late. So I slept up here somewhere, I think in this town, Sidi Abdullah, and this is where Adrian actually caught me. So I slept in a little kind of shelter, and then I woke up in the morning and I actually rode past Adrian sleeping in a doorwell, and we sort of came together. I stopped at a mosque to get some water. I had some chlorine tablets. I just treated the water just in case. And this town here was a small city, 8 Baha. It's much bigger than it looks on the map. And this was one of those like magical moments you get on a bikepacking race. If I can find it, it was here we go. Yeah, me and Adrian together, and we found this little automatic coffee vending machine. So it's like 4 a.m, and we just had a nice coffee together, which was kind of cool. And again, we knew we were going through an area where there wouldn't be much resupply. So you kind of have to take the opportunities when you get them. which we did. So it's quite nice to hang out with Adrian, and we kind of basically then leapfrogged each other. This is the desert section. You can see on the map, on the profile, it's quite flat, and there's nothing in here. There's a lot of sand. We did it early morning, just after dawn, so it wasn't too hot, which was quite nice. And then we stopped in one of these small shops here, and by this point we were both pretty hungry. Again, I think I was probably 5-10 minutes up the road, if that. Adrian was behind me. Then we came together at the little shop, and yeah, this was a little shop we stopped at. As you can see, they had fresh bread. There is kind of a French influence, rightly or wrongly, in Morocco, so they do have some good bread. I did the classic 2 sandwiches again, got some cheese in there, and you can see this is the kind of thing that you can get. You know, you get these little bags of crisps. I had quite a few bags of crisps just because I was craving salt, little sweets, biscuits and cakes. You can see them in the counter there. You know, I think I had like an orange juice and topped up with water. So yeah, I look very happy about my sandwiches. And then again, headed off. This time I was having a bit of a low moment. Adrian got ahead of me, and we both stopped at this shop here. It says petrol station, but there was actually a little shop. Knowing that we're going into this kind of big section with not an awful lot of resupply. It is actually tarmac. The road has recently been tarmacked, but then there's some off-road in the middle here. And basically didn't get any resupply till lunch at this little spot here. And this is where the race really came together in my group in the race for like the second half of the top 10. So if I can find my like the video of it, where are we? This one, I think. Oh no, that's Adrian again. Basically, there was we ended up having a bit of a like an omelette. So there's a few of us all sat together. I don't think I have a photo of it. So that was the last resupply, or the last sit-down meal. So I had an omelette, and basically there was 4 of us sat in this cafe. I got there first, and then the others came in over the next 15 minutes. So I got a nice quick. I was the first one there. I got my omelettes first, and then up the Stelvio. It's the last big climb of the race up here. I had full water and stuff, and this is where I kind of started falling apart a little bit. So there's no resupply to Immersen, in theory, although I managed to find a little shop here, but somewhere up here I ran out of water, and I just really had a massive low. So I got onto this main road here, and there was a little tiny petrol station just left off the junction here, and I basically fell into it. It was probably 10-11 o'clock at night. I think I just brought a load of yogurts, a load of these bars and stuff. Kind of wasn't really thinking, and just brought enough food and water to get to the finish. But I was flagging. I had a load of Sturker bars with me still, but by that point I just couldn't sort of stomach them anymore. A few people resupplied in Immersen, so I got ahead of them again, but I was just on fumes by the end. I think the dehydration on this section, I think it was a net effect of kind of like the day's riding. It was very hot, big long climbs, and I got dehydrated. I tried to drink as much as I could when I stopped for my omelette, and then I filled up on my bottles, but I was just so dehydrated I was chasing my tail a bit, and I just carried that through to the finish and faded a little bit. But yeah, that was kind of it. I mean, I have not figured out kind of exactly how many calories I ate. I did that for my Highland Trail video last year, but I just wasn't able to record it accurately. But weight wise, I probably lost. I don't think I lost too much weight overall. I weighed 71 kilos when I left home, and I was 71 kilos when I got back. So I imagine I lost a bit of weight and then put it back on again as my body replenished. But yeah, you know, that's what I ate for the Atlas Mountain Race. I hope that's kind of useful and interesting for people. Just trying to kind of fill in all the, you know, the behind the scenes stuff via these videos. So if you like all this stuff, then thanks for watching. And, you know, if you've got any questions, just chuck them in the comments. That's pretty much it for this format of video on the Atlas Mountain Race. I'm going to have my race film coming out on Sunday, all being well. And yeah, thanks for watching, and don't forget to give us a subscribe if you're into this kind of stuff. And yeah, catch you at the next one. I've got a few videos coming over the next few months, and then I've got the Accursed Mountain Race, or the Accursed Race in May, which will be a similar kind of race in the Balkans. And then I'm into my daily coverage, Hellenic Race, Highland Trail 550, and of course Tour de Vie coverage. So it's going to be a busy summer. So yeah, get subscribed. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one.